Okay, well, welcome to Meet the Candidate, and my guest for this interview is Pat McCarthy, who is running for State Auditor. Welcome, Pat.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, this is just the get acquainted with the voters interview, and I always start by asking, tell me about where you grew up.
Well, I grew up in Fresno, California, and graduated from San Joaquin High School and attended the University of San Francisco for 2 years. I was in the School of Nursing program, met my husband, who was in the law school at that time, and he passed the bar in Washington, but decided he wanted to go home. He's a Tacoma boy, and so he did, and I followed him up to Washington State and have been here for the last 45 years, married to the same man.
Lots of people relocate because their spouse wants to move. That's a common story.
Yes.
So you told us a little bit about your formal education. What about informal education? What were some of the interests and passions that you had as a child or in high school?
Well, let me just finish I didn't complete my college education since I had relocated to Washington State. But what I did do is when and I have 4 adult children, so I was quite active in taking care of my family in those days. But when they decided to bring the University of Washington to Tacoma, I was place-bound for all intents and purposes, being an at-home mom. So I was bound and determined to get my college education completed, and I did. I got a Bachelor of Arts in Interdisciplinary Arts and Sciences, so not in nursing, but did get a college degree, which was very important to me. I then, as a young mother who had kids in the Tacoma Public Schools, I decided to, at the encouragement of many people, to run for school board. So I was elected back in '87. I was elected to 2 terms. They're 6-year terms, and served 12 years on the Tacoma School Board while my kids were growing up.
Okay. Well, good for you for persevering and finishing that degree.
Right. Yes. So you wanted to know what my passions are. Well, I was real active in high school, of course, but since then, yeah, I love to cook. My mother's Irish, my father's Italian, and my mom was a working mom in the 50s. So I was a latchkey kid with my 3 older sisters way before the term was even coined. But I learned a lot, and I have really been engaged in community endeavors. I worked with a group of women when I first came up to Washington State at the age of 21, and joined with a group of women, and we created a program called Rape Relief to help women who had been raped, and worked with the Tacoma Police Department. So that was kind of my foray into beginning to, do many things as it relates to community involvement. And I'm an emeritus member of what we call now Pierce County Sexual Assault Center, which has expanded its portfolio as well, but really to help women who have been in those circumstances. So I'm proud of that work. I've been engaged with lots of community organizations. I've had a very long career in public service and in leadership positions. I was elected, as I said, on the Tacoma School Board, but then I was also elected as the Pierce County Auditor. I had actually, one of my colleagues, who was one of my fellow school board members, wanted me to come and be her deputy. I did, and then I was elected to 2 terms for the Pierce County Auditor's Office. From there, ran for Pierce County Executive. I was the first woman to hold that position, and I was elected to 2 terms in that position. And then I ran 3.5 years ago for Washington State Auditor, and I am your Washington State Auditor, and I've been in that position for the last 3.5 years, and I'm the first woman to have held that position in its 189 history of Washington State.
Okay. One of the questions I ask folks about, because it's something that shapes their worldview, is it a first paid job? What was the first time that you connected effort and a paycheck?
Yeah, oh my goodness. Well, when I was in nursing school, I did work for what they called the Nurses Registry, and I did get paid to go in and be a nursing student to come in and help. I did a whole bunch of different rotations, and I was paid. I can't remember what my pay was. I think it was like 3 something. It was very minimal. But then my really first job is when I graduated from UW Tacoma. I had seen a sign in the elevator, if you will, that said, and I'm going to use an old-fashioned term, Girl Friday needed. So, needing someone to help with filing in the program that I ended up graduating from. So I got all dressed up and thought, okay, this is my chance. I'm going to get this job. And I did. They hired me. And then I was like a Girl Friday, what they called in those old days, and did all the filing, did all the work that the professors didn't really want to do and needed the kind of support, secretarial almost stuff. And then from there, the woman that hired me was the administrator, and I applied for that position. And so I kind of leapfrogged into that position rather quickly. So that began my paid career working at the University of Washington Tacoma campus for 6 years as a college advisor and administrator. So, I tell young women all the time, I'm a real advocate for women, and life is not always a straight, narrow road and path. There are many diversions that doors open, and then you need to jump in, try them out, test yourself, test your waters. And so it's been pretty serendipitous for me, but I've been very fortunate and blessed with a lot of good opportunities, and it's really shaped my ability to be a good leader and a manager as well.
Okay. I think sometimes now they call that the office mom.
Yes, we
So,
have a number of them in the Washington State Auditor's Office, and they're wonderful, wonderful women and men. But they are terrific people, and they are the glue that kind of holds the office
hmm
together. We have 15 offices in the Washington State Auditor's Office across the state. We have a great team in Spokane. We have a team in Pullman, but many of them live in Spokane. A few of them live down in the Pullman area as well. We have a team in the Tri-Cities, and so they're kind of what I say sprinkled across the state of Washington. Now, with 400 employees, I like to say we have 400 offices because we're all teleworking.
hmm
And so it's been an interesting navigating through this pandemic, but we were not caught flat-footed, and we've done very well.
Okay. Well, we're to our wrap-up question, which is that last
Oh,
one to you. Your opportunity to give your pitch. Why should people vote to reelect Pat McCarthy as state auditor?
well, I want you to know that, first of all, I have a very public, demonstrated um, service in public service, and in leadership roles and in management roles. And now more than ever, we need people that have a proven track record. I'm proud of the interactive website that we created. It's user friendly. Please go to the state auditor's website. It'll tell you anything and everything you know or want to know about your governments, whether they're local governments or state agencies. We created some tools that help you do some comparisons. I do believe in transparency and accountability. I would hope that you look at my website at www.patmccarthyauditor.com to read what my endorsements are, what some of my background is, what some of the accomplishments and the priorities. I believe I'm suited to being reelected to this position. I've served with a fair and even hand to all citizens of Washington State, and I'm proud of the work that we do. And we have a lot more work to do, not only navigating through this pandemic and what the new normal will be for all of us in government, but also to complete some of the programs we started. I did an initiative with an interdisciplinary team looking at Medicaid fraud and a number of other things. We do not only financial audits, we do accountability audits, which are compliance audits. We do performance audits, cybersecurity audits, and fraud investigations, and we do the whistleblower program for the state of Washington and state employees. So I think I have a good record, and I'm committed, I have vision, I have accomplishments, and I would appreciate your support.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today, Pat, and good luck with your campaign.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
90 million Christians are eligible to vote.
40 million didn't.
That's 45% of eligible Christians not voting.
We can change that.
We Believe We Vote was designed to arm people of faith with information on candidates
and how they line up with biblical and constitutional principles.
It's simply WeBelieveWeVote.com.
We're on a mission to rev up the 2020 election.
Tell your friends, your neighbors, and especially your pastors to rev up.
Be an educated voter.
Arm yourself with truth based on the Word of God.
2020, rev up.
Register, educate, vote.
Rev up.
Rev up.
Rev up 2020.